by Olympic coach Lindsay Gaze. The Falcons won 113 to 94, but had some early anxious moments. Playing against the new team in the National Basketball League, the Melbourne Tigers, the Kern Falcons stretched their winning tally to 10 with just 2 losses. It was a typical game for the Newcastle Falcons. They started comfortably enough, but found themselves behind at both quarter time 24-19 and at half time 54-46, and they looked to be in some sort of trouble. But they started the third quarter in a totally different frame of mind and hit the Tigers like a lightning bolt with form like this. The session completely flattened the visitors, and it was really over at three-quarter time after the Falcons had rattled up 40 points in the quarter. Mike Johnson was in superb shooting form and took the Man of the Match award. The 2 Australian imports, Jeff Patterson and Frank Goldfinch, have proved to be ideal additions, and the Falcons are starting to look like a championship prospect.
Clash with Coburg at the Sports Entertainment Centre tomorrow night. One of the home team's trump cards is sharpshooter Mike Johnson, who sees it as a real chance to get to the top.
They've got a 3-game weekend, and if we can beat them tomorrow night and West Adelaide beat them on Sunday, we'll clearly lead the Eastern Division, which is a big bonus for us.
You'll be looking forward to another great game this weekend. Last weekend was one of those purple patches.
Yes, I was happy with last week's game, and I'd just be hoping to repeat some of the form this week, and hopefully we can take this one out.
I believe during the week you've had, perhaps I could call it, second thoughts about the Olympic squad for this year?
Yes, I've been approached to rejoin the Olympic squad, and pressure put on me by Dave Ankeny and other people, and I've reconsidered it and have made myself available, and it's just up to the selectors now, and if they decide I'm in, I'm back in.
What about the Coburg side? Benny Lewis, the leading scorer in the league, and he's one of your opponents tomorrow night.
Well, they're very strong. Along with Geelong, they're probably the powerhouse in the league. They've got Benny Lewis, Chuck Harmison, Ray Borner, all really big name players, and they'll be tough to roll. It'll be a good game.
I've said in just the last week or so, you're starting to look like a championship possibility now, Falcons.
Well, this is the best I think we've played. We're playing as a team, and that's what we've lacked in the last few years, and if we can keep it going, we've got a real chance.
Hello and welcome to the Sports Entertainment Centre here in Newcastle for another National Basketball League match. Tonight, the Newcastle Kern Falcons going against the Melbourne Tigers, winners of last year's South Eastern League, coming up to the national competition this year. The Falcons are 9 wins and 2 losses at this moment, averaging 108.7 points for and 97.6 against. The leading scorer, Jim Bateman, with 281 points at an average of 25.5. The Melbourne side come into this match winning 2 and losing 9, averaging 99.4 but conceding 106.8 points against. Andrew Gaze is their leading scorer, 297 at 27 average. With me for tonight's match is the former Australian player and the former Falcons coach, Dennis Kibble. Dennis, I'm suggesting that it's reasonable to perhaps suggest that this is the sort of match that can get away, a top side going against an improving bottom side.
Lee, that's very, very true, and we found ourselves on the road, and especially after a big win that the Falcons had last week over a top-ranking side, Canberra, that you tend to drop a little bit, and you think it's going to be easy, but there's certainly, I'm certainly Coach Dave Ankeny, he's aware of that fact, and he'll have the boys primed up for a big effort. And certainly Melbourne cannot be underrated.
Well, Frankston were defeated by this Melbourne side, and yet Frankston beat the Falcons, so that sort of a comparison puts the Falcons under some pressure.
Yes, well, the Frankston certainly defeated surprisingly the Falcons a couple of weeks ago in an away game, and then yet they turn around and Melbourne beat them by 20-odd points, which suggests that you can't take any of these teams easy at all.
This is going to be no pushover, and we'll pick up the action as they tip off. First quarter underway. The Falcons playing in white, of course, and the visiting side, Melbourne Tigers, in the orange and yellow colours. 24 minutes a half, or 12 minutes of quarter, so there's plenty of basketball, and one wonders if we can finish up with an exciting match, or one as exciting as last week, as Rabilia, the skipper of the Falcons, goes high, but is fouled. This is Bateman, the player seconded from the Newcastle Hunters, who's had a sensational start to the 1984 season. And that man, Mike Johnson, Dennis, can certainly hit him from a long way out.
Yes, tremendous shooter, Michael, tremendous shooter.
He seems as though he gets hot periods and other times perhaps is a little, seems anyway, reluctant to shoot.
Well, yes, there's a lot of shooters in the team, so there's only X amount of shots to go around. So, but when Michael's hot, he must be given the ball.
This is a jump ball here. 3-0 in favour of the Falcons. Picking up the ball now is the number 10, Andrew Gaze. They say he's on the way to Los Angeles. Well, that sort of form certainly might be. Son of the coach of the Melbourne Tigers, Lindsay Gaze, the national coach. This is Ian Rubiliad. Round the corner to Ian Davies. A sensational match last week where he really wrapped it up finally from a three-pointer from near the corner. As Bateman loses possession, goes away to the number 5, and that is Brian Courtian, one of the experienced players in the side. Bateman finds Johnson in the daylight. Whoa! Went in. 5-2. This is a big leap, I guess, Dennis, coming from the Southeastern League up into the National Basketball League, and the winners of last year, Melbourne Tigers, are going to learn a lot in their first season.
Yes, it's they won the Southeastern League last year and come up into the first year of the National League. And there is a bit of a jump there, and Coach Lindsay Gaze will certainly use this year for learning.
From the side, it's Brian Courtian. Turned it into number 4, James Kirkup. And from the back line immediately with a score 5-5, it's Jerry Denard, the import to the Falcons side, the American player. This is Rubiliad away to Michael Johnson. Across the keyway, got into Bateman. Bateman turns, unable to pop it away on that occasion. Denard tried to knock it in. It's picked up there by the number 4, and that's James Kirkup. The ball at least goes wide to Courtian. Across it comes to Andrew Gaze. He's the leading scorer, as we said in our preview. That's the number 13 there getting into the game, Alan Westover. Oh, ball taken from the hands of one of the Tigers. Away to Jerry Denard, who can't catch up with it and therefore can't control it. 5 each. On the side, it's Westover. Over away to Courtian, the player bandaged around both knees. Seems to be travelling okay. When he came onto the court, he seemed to be limping. Now he's warmed up, he's okay. Will that go in? It does go in. James Kirkup, the man. It's been a good start to the season for the Falcons, Dennis.
Excellent start, Lee, excellent start. Jim Bateman coming into the team have given him a nice and solid. You can see Jim Bateman there is blocked. Normally he doesn't block. He's such a strong player that he takes the bigger men on. There's a fine steal by Johnson. Certainly was. This is Davies from a long way out. Oh, got it right. 7 apiece. 8:44 in the first quarter remaining. 7 apiece, so both sides have started pretty well. This is Westover. Gave the quick ball up there to the number 6, Russ Dyer. He's one of the American imported players. Going high as Davies for the rebound. Way to win, Rubiliad. Rubiliad said to me in an interview a week or so back that he'd never been keener. That's certainly good information, and playing well as the skipper. Yes, Moose is playing excellent basketball. He's been given the job of running the game for the Falcons, and he's certainly doing that in great style.
Timeout called by the Melbourne Tigers bench. 5:08 remains in the quarter. The Falcons lead 13 points to 9. And Westover from the side. Courtian now. Got round Davies. In it goes to Gaze, who found the ring very well there. Timed his run to perfection, and the pass was good. The Tigers to lead 22 to 19. 1:24 remaining in the first quarter. As Rubiliad brings it up. I guess Coach Ankeny, I know it's a long way from home, would like to lead at quarter time, though, just the same. Bit of a psychological advantage to always maintain that lead at the breaks, Dennis. And he'd probably be a little disappointed they are behind now after leading by a few points early on.
Yes, Lou, it's a similar pattern to a few of the games from the Falcons. They certainly break out and lead early, and then they slow down, and for a period of, well, they've been scoreless for the last 5 minutes, but they've come back strongly in the third quarter.
This is Rebellion. And it goes this time to Bateman. Bateman has a couple of tries and travelled really before he could get the ball away. Good defence there forcing him there. Alan Westover, Brian Kujian. Only about 40 seconds remaining in this quarter. Away it goes to Kujian once more. Back to Andrew Gaze. Away to Peter Walsh. Strong one to Alan Westover. Certainly plenty of time for a good shot. Walsh has been fouled there for hanging on to Davies. On the side, it's Rebellion. Got the ball back to bring it up, and the Falcons now have time for at least one good shot. This is Bateman. Into Davies. The ball was too high, but Bateman will get it back again. Eventually forced into touch and dropped into someone slapping the crowd, actually. Brian Kujian. Good crowd in here tonight at the Sports Entertainment Centre in Newcastle. Just 9 seconds, 8 seconds in it. The Falcons will go to quarter time behind. This is Westover's going to try the shot. Got it in too for 24-19 at quarter time. For the Melbourne Tigers side to lead the story, really, of the first quarter in statistics.
Well, before we go, there's Brian Gorgian again with another 3-point. That's 4 out of 4 he's made from the 3-point line. But there's the story on the screen that the difference in the scoring is the Falcons are only hitting 29% from the floor as against the Tigers 47. The Falcons have averaged 48 this year, so they're certainly way behind that. Rebounds are much the same. Falcons with 9 to the Tigers 11, so there's not much difference there. And the turnovers, the Tigers have lost the ball 9 times to the Falcons 7.
This is the Tigers' Gaze, is it? Tried to knock it in. They got the points too. 29-21 now, with 8 points the difference. And the Falcons are going to be extended tonight, despite the placings on the ladder. The Melbourne side at the bottom and the Falcons at the top, but certainly some talent in this Melbourne side.
I think one other major aspect of the first quarter was that one of the top players for the Melbourne Tigers, number 6, Russ Dwyer, has 3 fouls, and they can't afford to pick up another foul on him.
With these full quarters, Dennis, we've mentioned before, these fouls are a real problem for coaches, aren't they?
Yes, certainly if you run into 1 or 2 or 3 fouls in the first quarter, there's very little chance of you lasting the game out.
Brian Kujian. 5 fouls, of course, and you're out. You're on the bench. That's Andrew Gaze to Westover to Peter Walsh. Got it away to Kujian once more, who knocked it in for a 10-point gap now, with the Melbourne Tigers side leading. Certainly give them great confidence. They dearly love to beat the Falcons. Plenty of competition between these two clubs over the years. Jerry Denard failed to get it in. Jim Bateman almost struggled through there, was expecting to get a foul called against one of the Melbourne side. The big number 6, Russ Dwyer, back on the court again.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Jim Bateman has scored a basket. He scored 41 points last week, and I don't think he's made a basket as yet.
This is Jerry Denard. Takes it back now to Ian Davies. Ian Rebellion, the captain of the side, now to Bateman. Dennis said he's been well and truly covered here tonight. At the ball, yeah.
Got it back, Ian Davies from the top. Beautiful pass, beautiful pass.
Rebellion knocked it away. Davies knew where Rebellion was there, and as Dennis pointed out, gave it to him very directly. Kujian now. That's a bit more like, oh, Davies tried to steal the ball, but it's gone off his hands over the sideline. And Kujian from the side, got it away to Peter Walsh. Very important player, obviously, in the Tigers outfit is Kujian. He's everywhere. There he is on the ball again. Over the top it goes to Walsh. Dyer can't get it in, and coming up with a rebound was Jerry Denard. Get it away to Moose Rebellion. Way to Jimmy Bateman now. The handoff to Rebellion as Bateman will go in and try and get a little bit closer to the ring. Of course, the attacking players, according to the rules, aren't allowed to prop under that ring. They can't stay in that keyway for more than 3 seconds when they're in a offence, but it's come off the hands of Walsh, it would be, is it? 31-23 in favour of the Melbourne Tigers, 8:46 remaining in the quarter. From the side, it's the Tigers, getting it into Andrew Gaze. Makes his way up the court, showing a good turn of pace too. Got it away there to the number 12 coming into the game, and that's Nigel Purchase, who's only been on a matter of moments. Johnson from the side. Going away to Rebellion. Way to Jerry Denard. Crash, bang, wallop, and down he goes, the big man Wallace. And banged the floor and said, I didn't do it.
Yes, he's suggesting that they should have, and there's coach Lindsay Gaze. I think he's right on this occasion.
On the bench, on the bench, can't make that many mistakes.
Peter Walsh was had good position, I feel, on the baseline. Jerry Denard ploughed into him, but the call's gone the other way, and Lindsay Gaze certainly not too happy.
Neither's Walsh, and coming into the game is Jeff Patterson. For the Falcons, as they lose possession quickly there. And Gaze gets the good, strong pass in. It goes to Walsh once more. Kujian now, over the top to Andrew Gaze.
Play.
Oh, sure. Almost knocked it in too. Johnson comes away with pace, and so does Rebellion. Rebellion swooped on it there, 31-25, the Falcons trail. As the Melbourne Tigers are putting on a good performance here tonight. Dennis, as I suggested to you in our opener, these are sometimes the matches that get away, and certainly the Tigers are looking quite good at the moment.
Yes, and the Falcons don't appear to have their rhythm going. As you suggest, they may have been taking the game a little easy.
Kujian now.
Three-pointer again.
Ooh, nearly online once more. Frank Goldfinch coming into the game for the Falcons now. Both he and Patterson used very irregularly from the bench. Oh, Michael Johnson, thank you. What a top shooter he is when he's online. 31-27. Melbourne still lead, but the gap has narrowed a bit now as we find Goldfinch and Patterson out there, obviously with the purpose of bustling the visitors tonight. Jerry Denard, good strong pass to Bateman. Can he get round the back of the backboard and knock it in? They're going high, tapped, won't go in, will not go in. This is Patterson. Over the top to Mike Johnson. That's the way to put him in. Only a two-pointer, but from a long, long way out at the top of the keyway. 31-29 as the Falcons starting to come alive a bit.
Well, I think the substitutions of Frank Goldfinch and Jeff Patterson certainly liven the game up.
Kirkup's into the game for Walsh now for the Melbourne Tigers. Obviously, Coach Lindsay Gaze wants to get someone out there a little bit fresher to keep this up-pacing of Patterson and Goldfinch, who have done just that. 31-29,
bang.
Long way out.
Another three-pointer. Five three-pointers for number 5, Brian Gourgian.
Back it goes this time, Gourgian once more. Well, geez, been online from a long way out, this fellow. As I said, he seemed to limp his way onto the court tonight. There's obviously not much wrong with him. Wasn't it a good pass for Gaze to knock it away? 36-29 as the Tigers once more skip to a bit of a lead. Only 7 points with all the time in the world to score 70. But just the same, it's a pretty close tussle in the second quarter. Jeff Patterson tried to struggle through the middle there and was fouled by the number 12, and that's Nigel Purchase. 36-29 in favour of the Tigers.
Fake back, and then when he goes right through, you go. Right? Well, we got a minute 34. Let's get right back to the game now. Forward, 5 down. Let's go into halftime, even Stevens, huh?
Let's go, fellas. Let's go, Frankie.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. Get out, you guys. Let's go.
Coach Dave Enkin, he would be happy to go even Stevens, as you saw there. That's the gap 5 with 1:28 remaining in the half. Goodgian bringing the ball up, almost lost control as Goldfinch arrived to get it away to Westover. Now to Andrew Gaze. Russ Dyer over the top, plenty close enough to knock it in, and doesn't, extends the lead. As we'll find Goldfinch to get the game underway once more. 7 the gap. Plenty of coaching from the sideline there, as you can see in the shot. Lindsay Gaze, ball going in the Falcons. Narrow it back to 5. There's that longer pass over the top to Dyer. And it worked again on that occasion. Michael Johnson. Got it in this time to Goldfish.
3-pointer, Johnson.
My word. From outside that yellow line, that narrowed it somewhat. There's only 4 in it now. Going into the half-time, and as we said, Dave Ankeny would love to see it even.
Yes, well, there's a difference in the game right there with the Tigers hitting on 50%, which is very good. The Falcons bringing it up gradually at 37%. Rebounding, the Falcons certainly, because they're poorer shooter, are getting more chances. Naturally, they've got 20 rebounds to the Tigers' 14.
There it is, 37%, 50%, and there's the turnovers, 13-12 to the Falcons. As we find Gudjian now, gets in there.
Oh.
She's had a top game, this bloke, so far.
Tremendous half.
They lead 54-46 as they go to half-time. And the visitors, well, a bit surprisingly in front, and the Falcons with it all to do. Second half underway now. Possession coming to the Falcons after a bit of struggle there by Jerry Denard. They trailed by 8 points at half-time. So the Falcons have it all to do, and the Melbourne side have had a very, very good first half.
Right, yes, Lee, the Falcons have improved the shooting. They're got it up to 42, so they're certainly coming back and getting that percentage up, which is good. The Tigers are stuck around the 52, which is an excellent shooting mark. The Falcons are still stuck on the 20 rebounds. They're leading in the rebound department of the Tigers, 14. And the turnovers are dead level with 14 apiece. Turnovers, of course, are a loss of possession by either team.
It's Peter Walsh, turns there, won't go in. Freeman coming up with the ball. It was Ian Davies there. 54-46 now. And boy, oh boy, the third quarter's been the quarter where the Falcons have turned around in plenty of matches this season. And Dennis, they need to continue that sort of style of play here tonight.
Yes, they need another big quarter. The third quarter has been their best quarter in all games to date. They've given leads to a lot of sides, and this has been the quarter they've got back into the front.
They'll need to do it again. It would be a real boil-over should the Falcons be beaten here tonight. Knocked away. This is Andrew Gaze. Won't go in for him either. And coming up with the ball is Jerry Denard. 54-46, still 8 the difference. Ian Rebilliard got it away to Ian Davies. Strong pass to Denard, doesn't go in. Denard was well positioned, got the ball well, but was forced to shoot quickly and was offline. Alan Westover. Got it away now to Andrew Gaze. Strongly across to Gudjian. He's been red hot, this bloke. Oh.
And again, that would make 22 points for the game. He had scored 20 at half-time, and 15 of those points came from the three-point line where he shot 5 out of 8. So that's tremendous shooting.
My word it is. This is him again, Brian Gudjian. Bandaged up like Kingston Town, but by gee, he doesn't slow him down. That's a good shot. Alan Westover knocked it in, 58-46. And the Melbourne Tigers side lead by an amazing 12 points. Right, gee, the Falcons have got to get their mind on the job here, don't worry. There's plenty of time to go, but there needs to be some application. As Bateman, who's had a pretty ordinary game by his standards tonight, been obviously well guarded by the opposition. I'd say they'd heard of Bateman before they got here.
Yes, they've done an excellent job on him. Number 6, Russ Dwyer, has kept Jim Bateman pretty quiet. He's also racked up 3 fouls in doing so.
This is Westover from a long way out. Doesn't go in, and going high was Ian Rebilliard. There's a long ball to Michael Johnson, and a sit of 2 points. 58-50 now. Tigers still lead as Brian Gudjian will bring the ball back up. Over the top it goes to Dyer, the man Dennis spoke of. Alan Westover. Going high is Jerry Denard for the rebound. As we find the Tigers a little offline with some of their shooting. That's something they haven't done. As Rebilliard put some spark into the game. Found a passage through there. Fair dinkum Quite unusual so far in the defence of this Melbourne side. Ryan Gudgeon gave it away to Peter Walsh, knocked away by Denard.